I am Rachel, and I have a YouTube channel where I react to and review various music called Rachelle Reacts, and that is me.
Let's discuss.
I've always been super into music, and like I would just be like, coworkers, guess what? Animate just put out this album called Graveyou, and it's amazing, and you all have to, and they'd be like, we don't like want to listen to this album.
Yeah.
I don't like scream or whatever the case was. People were telling me like, oh, you know, you love talking about it so much, you should do a YouTube channel. And I was like, no, absolutely not. And then when COVID happened and like 2020 shows slowly started getting canceled and stuff, it was like that moment of like, well, what am I gonna do besides spend my money on records? And that was really kind of like the thing that ended up pushing me to do it, was like everything being shut down and there not being shows.
Oh, I love that.
When I was younger and like before we all had a cell phone in our hands at all times that had Twitter and Instagram and YouTube on it, it was much different in terms of finding music and the music that you were hearing all of the time and stuff like that. And so when I was in, you know, like elementary school and stuff, I got this hand-me-down Walkman, and I was like, I can take CDs on the go. This is so sick. Who's gonna stop me now? Like, I just have to find some CDs and I'm good to go. And then I would like take my headphones and be like, listen to this song to like random other kids and stuff like that. Like, it made me feel kind of weird too. Like, it was never a point of like, oh, I have this common denominator where like other kids are also super into like, who also wrote Blink-182 on their shoes. Like it wasn't really like that so much. So I guess as like a, you know, an adult, being able to kind of do some stuff that like when I was that age, I'd be like, what are you like, that many people want to talk about music?
Today I will be checking out the band Embla North, which is not a band that I've listened to before, but I have heard of them. Love vocals. Let's discuss. I very much dig this. The chorus especially. There are a number of things about this that I really dug.
The bands have been like just so nice. Even before my channel really caught any traction, there would be bands that would like, you know, comment or share the video and be like, thanks for taking the time to do this. To the point now where it's like I have like friendships with some of the bands, and they'll be like, hey, this is coming out on this date, can you know, do it? Which is just also just very weird to me and neat, because this is like a very niche interest, you know, like it's not like metalcore is really topping the you know, like you don't turn on every radio station on the regular radio and hear, you know, Invent Animate or anything like that.
Not yet.
Real easily it becomes full-time job level of work, and that sometimes gets stressful. But in all of those moments where I felt overwhelmed, it was like, well, for the community aspect of this, and it's just cool to have that like common denominator of like, oh, like we're here because we do want to talk about like, you know, these releases that came out, or like you also have a spreadsheet for your album of the year. That's so cool. Yep. Like I don't know anyone in real life that does you know,
yeah,
stuff like that.
Stuck in my head forever.
Some of the bands that I've really found that I enjoy the most, or that I connect with the most, some of them have like such small numbers that just don't speak to where I feel like their talent is at, or something. Like Mourn came out of the gate in 2021, released 4 songs on an EP, and that is still something I'm constantly like monthly going back to and revisiting, and their monthly listeners are still dropping below 100 monthly listeners. And you never know when other people are going to decide like, oh, I love this actually, and then it might be, you know, maybe you missed out on a more intimate moment just because numbers were the only thing speaking to you, you know.
The drumming in Mourn has just been really stand out to me on both tracks. With this, there's two different styles that you really get, or I feel like you transition between. There's the more melodic feel to it, where you're kind of hearing the more open sounding guitar and stuff, and then it gets into the more breakdown parts of the song.
Music for me is, not to be like, once again, cliche, but it's really nearly everything, regardless of if you speak the same language as someone or you could not verbally communicate with them at all. You may be able to like musically connect to something in the same way, you know? Sometimes people will leave comments on my videos and be like, thanks for doing this. I don't know anyone in real life who has the same music taste as me, and this is kind of like listening with a friend or whatever. And I feel like not having that, you kind of form like this connection with music itself, you know, like growing up, finding those albums, putting posters on my wall, going to Warped Tour, you know, making collages from AP magazines and stuff like that. Like it really builds who you are as a person. So for me, I really do feel like it's a part of everything, you know?
As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.